You lazy dumbass motherfucker.
Gaslighting you since 2022. It is Unrelenting episode 89. It is 89, I think, right? I think so. Maybe.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Yeah, we're getting there. Closing in on that century mark. I'm Darren O'Neill. He's Gene.
And how are you today, Darren O'Neill?
It's a beautiful day just outside of Chirac.
Nice.
It's still in the mid-60s, which means my air conditioning keeps kicking on still.
Yeah, it's still in the mid-70s here.
Nice. I mean, it'll be in the 40s by next week, and then the heat will probably have to be on. But I mean,
I had the heat on last week.
I just don't. I mean, I don't like the interim. It's fine when it's hot because then you run the air conditioning. It's fine when it's cold because when you run the heat, but when it's in the middle, it's horrible.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's pleasant weather.
Pleasant.
Back in the olden days, our parents used to just turn off the HVAC system.
I know.
During this time period.
Well, you watch those, at least I do.
I have it set to both at the same time. So,
how do you do that? That's like a special
you gotta
HVAC
cool
system.
The upstairs and let the downstairs warm up.
So you've got a nice split system that's fighting within itself.
Yes.
It's like, well, it's the warm air, which rises from the downstairs, goes upstairs. So then it has to be cooled. It's all very complex.
You got to cool the air to the right temperature, and then you can warm it up as necessary.
Yeah. I would have never been able to live in the time without air conditioning. It would just not have been good.
Probably we both would have been a little less chubby at that point.
Well, this is true because that is the downside.
Sweat it all out.
And we would have been migrating north a lot.
Yeah, right. Migrating north, not south.
No. You got to go somewhere a little bit cooler.
Yeah, it's true because really the South is more known for the fact that you have constant air conditioning all summer long than it is for actually hot temperatures.
Yes, Ned. Sir Gene is talking about his downstairs. I mean, it's whatever you want to refer to it as. You got to keep the downstairs nice and aerated and cool.
Warm,
right. I'm sorry. Then the upstairs is cool.
You got to cool off the downstairs and warm up the upstairs. That's interesting. Okay.
One way to go about it. It is one way to go about it. But yeah, you realize everything that runs in the house, at least here, that generates heat. I mean, in the basement alone, where there are 4 NAS systems and another computer, that alone would generate a little bit of heat. You got the wine fridge on the main level and the regular fridge, of course, which generate heat. Because I'm always like, it's cool outside. Why is the air still running?
So you've got you got 4 NASs and 1 wine fridge?
Yeah, 4 NASs in the basement with a regular computer down there. I do have a mini fridge down there, but it's not plugged in as of yet. Again, ever since we did the carpet, that has not been restocked and plugged in.
Got it.
Then on this level, I have 2 computers running at all times, a Pi running at all times, 3 monitors.
Oh, no, not a Pi. That's got to be just boiling the house.
It puts off a decent, it's funny. It puts off a decent amount of heat. So does the new router puts off a decent amount of heat. Is it just running all the time?
Those things are definitely a lot hotter than they used to be.
I mean, like it works great, but I wonder why the office is always so damn warm. And then the addition of the what do they call these things that they got rid of now? The not the that's the phone. The Roku, the Roku, that's a TV thing. The Drobo, that's the dumb word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
the Drobo with the 5 recertified enterprise drives. Enterprise drives run hot.
Yes.
So I finally started getting back into the habit because I had one fail and then it had to do all the rebuilding.
Yeah.
And I got into the habit of just leaving it on.
Yeah, that's the best thing for it.
So, I mean, the last couple of nights I've been testing it out and turning it off, and it's funny because the office seems like so much cooler the next morning if the Drobo's been off. So you know what kind of heat that's putting out.
I mean, yeah, why don't you just replace them all with just one instead of having 4 different ones?
Well, because they're all kind of full.
Right, but I mean, drive sizes are bigger now. You could just get one with big drives.
They are expensive. I need a lot of donations to do that, but that would be...
you got a lot of donations. You're good to go.
On Planet Rage, we got a lot of donations.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I heard.
Although on this show...
A record-breaking... I heard you guys got more than No Agenda.
No Agenda in one donation still got more than our whole show.
Oh.
So we're still building. I mean, No Agenda got a couple of show number donations recently in the 1,600 range, where the whole of Planet Rage, while we are very grateful for it, and yes, it was record breaking, I think it still came in at like 1,100 and something.
Wow.
Which is then split 2 ways. And
well, that's no good. Wait a minute. You actually split with him?
Yes,
you just
I like
steal
Larry.
My money.
Larry's awesome.
Uh-huh.
Why wouldn't I split with him?
Yeah.
This morning I just realized, and I don't know if this was a reason why, I mean, I doubt it, with your lightning issues.
Oh, I don't have lightning issues. You have lightning issues.
No, I have no lightning issues. I get all of the lightning. The nice folks over at Name Silo, which is the registrar that I've been using for domains forever now. I have no idea why. 2 things. One, that unrelenting.show was one of the only, maybe the only domain on that account that wasn't set to auto renew. Maybe I was thinking the show was over a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe.
And I'm like, no, don't renew that. That's probably not going to.
Yeah.
We're not going to need another year of that.
Well, we could switch it over to unrelentingshow.com, which I own.
See, that may work as well, although this is fine for now. But the only reason is the fucking .shows have gone up to, I think it's $28 a year to renew.
Yeah, I've noticed everybody's creeping up. Like it used to be that, there was a few expensive registers and everybody else was in the $10, $12, $14 range. Now everybody's like $20.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's like GoDaddy used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I went and looked, and while it wasn't set to auto renew, because this morning when I went to go pop up the Unrelenting page, it first just gave me, it wouldn't load error, and then I tried it without the HTTPS, and it gave me this domain is expired. I'm like, what the hell? So I went to Name Silo, and the expiration date was today. So it's like, what the fuck, Name Silo?
Yes, they turned it off a day earlier.
Yeah, I'm like, what's that have to do with anything?
Huh.
I mean, one, you could have emailed me. I mean, they probably did, and I ignored it because everything is pretty much on auto renew.
Right.
And it was then recovered within an hour. And, there were no fees or anything. It was just, okay, renew. That's fine. It was well within. They give you like 30 days, even if you don't renew on time. But I'm like, really? You're shutting it off the day of the renewal?
Apparently.
Assholes. I mean, that'll be something that would make me look for a different company to do the registers.
Well, it's interesting because yesterday CSB sent his donation to the show, so make sure you mention his
the boostergram,
his thing, his boostergram. But and of course, it never showed up here. So it's like, oh, once again, Darren is stealing my money.
But they said it's right in the RSS feed, which I don't understand what CSB's doing to you. I think he's blocking you intentionally. I think he has it so nothing can go into Moscow proper.
Because he said that on his end, it looked like the entire donation went through.
Let me check.
I never got it, which means you got it twice.
No, that doesn't necessarily mean that, but it may.
Pretty much means it based on past history. Absolutely.
Okay. So yesterday at 16:14, I did get a 49.50 and a 48.51 from Comic Strip Blogger.
Oh, look at that. Amazing.
Which is impossible when you look at the RSS feed. I think he's editing the RSS feed intentionally and messing with you.
You are such a thief.
You can see it in the RSS feed. It's in the open. You can prove that's not true. With that said, I do need to get your half for the domain renewal, so we'll just take it right out of all of these extra sats that have been coming in.
Hey, my domain's already renewed. Let's just start using mine. That way no one's stealing any shit.
Right, so nobody can get confused and all of the stuff won't stop because the RSS feed is changing.
Mm-hmm.
This annoying cookie message. Albie uses cookies. And I like that they're...
Yeah, why don't you clear your cookies? Maybe that'll fix it.
My cookies are fine. You look at the RSS feed, that's all that matters.
Your cookies are stolen cookies is what it is.
You look at the RSS feed, and now that we have 2 different addresses, which we fixed last week, I have no idea how that's still working for.
I have nothing on that in Albie from the last 4 days.
I don't either. That's the funny thing with Unrelenting. Right. Nobody boosts.
Well, that's good. So you just have the one that showed up today.
Yeah, for CSB. We need people to boost, and then we can check that out. I mean, I don't even care if you're boosting like 3 sats because you hate the show and you don't like Gene. Come on, just show us a boost so we know this is working correctly. Boost, 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 as they say over on the boosting show.
Yeah, well, let's mention csb.lol just so that we actually mention his domain.
csb.lol. Yeah, well, his message that he gave, and he wants me to like say Russian words, which is like, that's never going to happen.
He paid you to say Russian words. He didn't just want you. He actually paid you to do it. So go ahead.
At 48.51 sats, that equals what? $1?
More than $1.
More than $1. I will dance for $1. He says, what's the crack, Darren? See, now that was the thing that Larry didn't know crack. You didn't know crack, but you I get because you're a Russian guy. Mm-hmm. Larry's like first generation. His family came over from Ireland. You don't know crack? I mean, I knew that when we went there like a decade ago.
I guess that's why they call you a cracker, but
maybe there are a lot of very white people in Ireland.
That's just a few?
just a few. Yeah. Sunshine deprived. And he's like, CSB wants me to understand how to pronounce stuff when he starts breaking it down into the phonetic
spelling. Irony of a guy who refuses to record his own voice bitching about you not pronouncing things.
I know, and then he sends me a thing with like the pronunciation, like I'm going to be able to remember that. And
yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
It's Zdrav Strvoite Gospodinjin. So I mean that was butchering,
so
right?
Bad.
Yeah, I would not pass for Russian.
Yeah, what? Try emulating the female voice that he sent you instead of the CSB voice.
I can't. I don't. It's just all like somebody sneezing. That's basically what I hear when I listen to that. I'm not good with language. I'm barely good with English.
Uh-huh.
But beyond that, which I think he's saying, go fuck yourself in Russian or something to Gene. Please visit my website at www.csb.lol to see many cartoons about Bitcoin.
Yeah, you don't need W's. Just use CSB.lol.
He loves that because then he knows people are confused. He says if you just say csb.lol, they don't know you're talking about a web address. You have to tell people www so they remember. I'm like, but nobody uses www now either. I mean, I think you'd be better off just saying, go to my website available at you don't have to say www, just at URL, then maybe is better. csb.lol.
Now there's going to be a cartoon about you fucking things up.
Cartoon about Bitcoin hunt, heat wave front, and a cunt. CSB. Well, I don't know. This is some very interesting topics he's doodling about.
Yeah, he's got one about Russell Brand.
Zdravstrovte Gospodin.
Oh, I just got some Albies showed up.
See, it's working. It's working just fine.
Yeah. What did you do, Darren?
It's working just fine. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Pfeiffer and NetNet, it looks like. Pfeiffer says, hail. Thank you. And NetNet says, I love Undance Party with Danny O and Sir Disco Jeans. I do like Sir Disco Jeans. That kind of fits you, really.
Sure.
Back in the 80s, I bet you were going out. Oh, I mean know
70s.
You were going out. Well, no, but this would have been the John Travolta Saturday Night Fever. You were going
77?
out. Yeah, you were really. That was 77.
Yeah,
you were going out in your disco jeans, weren't you? Staying alive, staying alive. Woo, woo, woo. How do you sing "Staying Alive" in Moscow?
Of myself in a white suit.
Oh, you got to post that.
On a dance floor somewhere. I need to find it.
You got to post that. How big was the beard?
Yeah, and it was in Chicago as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. God, what was the name of the place? It was like it's like the Dungeon or the what was that place called?
Oh, there were a lot of very weird places in Chicago back in the day.
Yeah, no, I've danced out of Chicago a lot of times.
I bet you have,
Uh-huh.
Sir Disco Jeans.
Wasn't a black face around anywhere, I tell you.
Chicago's really changed, folks.
Has it now?
The crime is happening everywhere because they're not doing anything about it. That's all.
Dude, yeah. No, I remember driving my caddy out there. Oh,
having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Down. I mean, I know there was
a good time.
Excalibur was a big one. I don't know if you think Dungeon just because of its.
Oh, maybe it was Excalibur. Maybe that's no. No, Excalibur sounds too Renfesty. I thought it sounded kind of like more, more medieval.
More medieval.
Well, I guess Excalibur is kind of medieval,
right?
Too.
I mean, that would be.
Gosh, I don't know. Somebody from Chicago would know. Somebody from actual Chicago would probably know.
I mean, like down on Rush Street somewhere.
It would have been, well, I tell you, it was within 2 miles of the water tower.
Lovely water tower place, which was up until, it may still be, like 8 levels of shopping. Was one of the first malls that went up more than expanding out. I just saw an article that they are selling the 4th level up for other things.
So it's no longer a mall.
Right. Well, the first 3 levels are still going to be a mall.
Okay.
But then the rest of it, they're trying to find other things to go in because, everything's great in Joe Biden's America.
Yeah. And in whoever Chicago mayor's is Chicago.
Well, yeah. Johnson.
Yeah.
We got a big Johnson.
Got a big Johnson?
That's in Chicago, man. Big Johnson.
Uh-huh. That sounds about right. So you start eating garlic yet?
No, but I do have the garlic supplement. Now, I don't know if that's as good. Okay.
I take that as well. I don't think it does jack shit, honestly.
It's kind of like you need to go fresh.
I gotta say, man, just one little clove of garlic, and I don't know if I'm saying it right. Is clove the whole garlic, or is clove one of the little slivers?
I think the clove is the whole thing, but I could be wrong.
What do you call the little slivers? Because that's what I'm eating. So when you take it all, clean it, one garlic turns into like 8 or 12 little doodads.
Yeah, a bunch of little pieces come off.
Yeah. So you don't have to cut anything; you just have to clean it. But it's amazing how potent that one little piece is.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a strong when used in food. Obviously, a very strong spice.
When you take a piece of fresh garlic, like not cooked garlic, cooking it turns everything into sugar. But you take a piece of that fresh garlic and you just chew it up in your mouth. Your mouth is on fire, much like if you're eating a ghost pepper. I mean, this thing is like, you can't hold it in your mouth. You have to instantly take a drink of water and just pull it into your gut. And then it literally just transfuses throughout your entire body.
Yeah, and C. Brooklyn is correct. So it is the clove, is that little piece, the bulb would be a full.
Okay, so it is a clove garlic. Yeah, good. So it's pretty amazing. And I think that, in fact, if you take a garlic clove, cut it in half, and rub the part that you just cut that's got juice on there, rub that on your skin turns bright red.
That's a little weird.
No, it's really strong. So it's good shit, man. So I've been eating 1 clove of garlic every morning now. And I feel like, I probably can't even get COVID.
Oh, a clove of garlic a day keeps the COVID away?
I mean, vampires or COVID, same difference, basically. But it is, it's pretty amazing. It definitely just boosts your immune system to hell.
Boosts your immune system to hell. Let's point out that you are not a medical professional.
Not a medical doctor, no.
There was a club back in the day, a goth club called Medusas. That seems like someplace you would have been.
That's not the one. I don't think that's it. I keep thinking Dungeon, but maybe it was a different name. but it was dungeony.
Were you kept in a dungeon at some point, Gene? And maybe you're
Not
just
in
having
Chicago.
flashback. Okay, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like to bring that one up. Yeah,
I've been to lots of dungeons. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, it is that time of year, too. I mean, for people that just kind of dabble, Halloween.
That's true. That is. It's when all the BDSM sales start.
People are like, no, I'm just buying this for Halloween.
Halloween costume. Well, there's a lot. Well, when the weather is warm and it's Halloween and you're in a city with a lot of college students,
the eye candy is
there's some
phenomenal.
Yes, there's some creative eye candy walking around.
It's going to be very cold here, I think, in next week. So
I remember there was a couple of Halloweens in Minnesota where it snowed.
Oh yeah, here too. The one year I decided not to be an asshole, which I know why. Because I mean, if I'm the only one home on Halloween and I'm downstairs doing my thing on the computer, I mean, the only way to really give out candy on Halloween is to make that your job for a few hours, to do nothing but sit there, because otherwise it's up the stairs, open the door, go back down, get on the computer, go back, doorbell rings, don't want to do it. The one year I decided to do it, it was like 28 degrees and sleeting and like 3 kids showed up, which was great because those kids got the whole bag of candy. I'm like, here, just take it because it's done. I mean, nobody else is showing up. So you win for being the only ones that went out on a day such as this.
Wow. All right. Keep telling stories. My groceries just showed up. I got to grab them and stick them in the fridge real quick.
Oh, well, how many? The only question will be once Gene returns, how many bottles of iced tea are actually in this order? I'm guessing at least 15. He's got an iced tea fridge, an iced tea fridge. It's for nothing but iced tea. Who else has one of those? Make sure you boost. Just looking at a Facebook group that people are listing all the clubs that have come and gone. I mean, there were a lot of weird ones in Chicago over the day, but I don't remember anything that would have been like a dungeon. I think Gene maybe was having a little too much fun and somebody just took him home and put him in the basement. I mean, he really wouldn't know. Oh, yeah, a club called Shenanigans. That was, I mean, Ditka's, that really wasn't a club. The Snuggery was, I see that one I've never heard of. What would the Snuggery be like as a club? Hotsy Totsy. Oh, there's a good club name. The Rookery. Ooh, the Limelight. Well, that was big, but that doesn't really say dungeon. I still think Medusa sounds the most like something out of that, or Excalibur would be something the most out of the dungeon vein. The Zebra Lounge. Oh, yeah. It's a good gig right there, man. Gene should own a club. You'd have the snakes just hanging out, doing their thing. Jillies, no. Crowbar. I mean, it could be. Yeah, it could. The things you do maybe involve a crowbar. The Octagon. Spike's Rat Bar. See, another one I've never heard of. But Nick the Rat would obviously enjoy that one. Eddie Rockets. I mean, most of these are on Rush Street, which I'm assuming is where. O'Neill's. See, now that right there had to be a good bar no matter what. Got a lot of Irish in Chicago. But oddly enough, very hard to find a good Irish restaurant around here. We used to have a few. Now all we have are Mexican and Italian restaurants around here. That's it. No good Irish restaurants. And the few that were around here that popped up, the reason I'm guessing they failed, and I don't know for sure, is because they're shepherd's pie. And do we get that the name shepherd's pie is because of the shepherds in Ireland that tended to their lambs? Shepherd's pie in Ireland is going to be made out of lamb. Shepherd's pie here, yeah, we use ground beef. Not the same. It is not the same. Like, I don't want it. Make it right. There is a new Mediterranean restaurant around here. Damn good shawarma. Excellent shawarma. Some kebabs. Oh, the spicy rice and the spicy hummus. I mean, I didn't know I loved this stuff until I tried this stuff. The Shawarma is to die for. But they have a burger, the Yalla burger. The place is called Yalla. And I have not tried the burger yet, but it is made with half lamb and half ground beef, which I'm thinking just sounds fantastic with Yalla sauce. I don't know what Yalla sauce is, but if it's anywhere near as good as their spicy hummus, damn, it will be good. Excalibur China Club. I think, Gene, I think you're just imagining things. There was never a dungeon bar in Chicago. I mean, there may have been somewhere else. There may be one in Gene's basement. But what we need is Digi Guru. He would know. That guy's of the right age where he was doing things in the 80s that we can only dream of doing today. I know. See, Brooklyn, fucking Gene, so unprofessional. Yeah, this is exactly what happens when you're dealing with amateurs, see, Brooklyn. No question about it. The Chicago's house music in the 80s, no. I mean, there was a lot of fun things going on in Chicago in the 80s because you could actually go downtown. Gene went to go bring his food in. He got a food delivery. And you know, Gene, he eats a lot. It's really hard to say. I'm still just wanting to know how many of the iced teas came in. I'm guessing a lot. I think it's at least 2 a day because it's too hard to just make your own iced tea. That is too difficult to have, I get it. He always wanted, he is putting on his disco jeans, net, just to make the rest of the show even better. But that would work. That would work. Oh no, I hear something coming there. I hear Gene coming back. He's sitting down at the chair. He's getting sidling up to the microphone.
All right.
Yeah. How many bottles of the iced tea were there?
15.
Like about 2 a day, again, because it's too hard to make your own. 5.
I make it occasionally.
5 tea bags equals about one of those bottles. You just throw them in, let them sit for a few hours. They're done. All you need are really 2 containers. So that way you always have a full one or a new one brewing while you start the next. Because by the time you can drink one, the next one would pretty much be ready.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
Too lazy. Gene's got an iced tea guy to add to the sushi guy. Just a guy that comes in like every day and then just puts some new iced tea into the fridge.
No, I get tea twice a week.
That's
3 bottles a day.
Wow. I mean, I guess it's better than water, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we should open up a new dungeon nightclub. That would be a good idea.
I still can't remember what the hell it was called.
I know, and it's impossible because you know how many nightclubs have come and gone in Chicago?
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, if it was one of the really super big ones that people would remember, but there have been a lot. Definitely.
I remember Olive. Olive used to be a fun place to go.
I've never heard of Olive, but I believe you.
That was big during the, I think it might have been called Olives, but their logo was martini glass with 2 olives in it.
Excalibur may still be around, which is almost amazing at this point. The Dirty Martini Lounge, that's listed here. That'd be a good one. But I did get the No Agenda program. I was finally an end of show ISO, and I think, I guess I have to figure out if the clip came from Unrelenting or from Planet Rage, and if so, how did it get into Adam Curry's hands is always the question.
Huh. How did it?
You never know when the Podfather is listening.
Yeah.
I know he listens to this show just for you, though.
He still does not listen to this show.
He loves this show. He loves to get your insights. I was kind of surprised. There's been a couple threads going on over on No Agenda Social where you're very, very proficient and prolific.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know about proficient. Prolific, yeah.
That is complaining that the No Agenda boys hate their producer / audience and how they block too many people and that they're very condescending. And I'm like, really? I've picked up on some of the shtick, but that's like, I don't know if people are taking something seriously that I would just take as the kind of buffoonery and shenanigans that come off on this show. But I thought it was kind of interesting.
Who blocks people?
I mean, JCD blocks everybody.
Oh, yeah, as he should.
And Adam, I think, may have started. I think JCD may have rubbed off on Adam a little bit.
There are, I didn't actually block him. I did mute a guy just recently for being a total douchebag.
Which is the proper thing to do.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, look, I don't block people if I disagree with them. I block people when they're douchebags.
Yes.
And this guy, I think it was a guy at least.
Well, you never know. That's the beauty of the internet.
That was a screenshot to get, because a lot of times getting a screenshot of something online is makes a quick, easy impact without having to type anything. Kind of turns it into a meme almost.
Yes.
So I posted it, and then his reply is, "What's the source?"
It's a screenshot.
And I'm like, so I ignored it for a little while. Then next day, I'm reading my messages. Like, well, since you didn't post the source, clearly it's fake, bullshit, made up, that you put on there trying to just troll people. Well, first of all, look at my fucking tag. It says troll.
Yes, troll emeritus or something like that. Didn't happen
to be, master troll, I think. But this happened to be not a troll. This was about some boy in Connecticut or someplace out on the East Coast winning the all-time best track and field record for girls.
Oh, right. Because now that's the new trans.
It's the thing, right? And so I'm like, okay, I can't remember what I call them, but it was a little harsher than douchebag. I think I went a little more Nazi on them. And then I probably like, you dumbass motherfucker. Oh, no, you lazy dumbass motherfucker. You can't even Google something. Just type the fucking headline in that you see on the screen and you'll get the article. So actually, he got me motivated enough to do two things. One is actually do that, Google the headline to get the link from the article, which I then posted along with my very appropriate message of calling him a dumbass motherfucker. And then said, don't ever bother me again. And then I muted him. I'm like, how stupid are these fucking entitled millennial pieces of shit?
That's
and I
a good
know
question.
He's a millennial. I know. I could just tell.
You could just feel it?
Oh, I could just feel it. It's like somebody that tells you to go do work and then 2 minutes later says, how come you haven't started doing work yet?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Fucking entitled piece of shit millennial.
Yeah. And a couple of things. Cotton Gin says, my ISA was from Planet Rage episode 100, so you're probably right. Adam must listen to Planet Rage, but not Unrelenting.
He doesn't listen to that either.
And our buddy DigiGuru says, Excalibur was about 3 blocks away from Water Tower.
Oh, shit.
And it had like 5 levels with different themes.
Yeah.
Big stone building.
That's the one. Yeah. It is Excalibur then. Oh, good get.
See, I did
not think the name was Excalibur, though. I thought it was something else.
Excalibur. You're just thinking of a big sword.
But no, I remember the multi-levels, and I remember I walked back home to the...
You mean stumbled back home?
I walked. I might have floated, for all I remember. But back then, there used to be a place that I always used to stay called the Executive Plaza, which is right on the Wacker Drive, across from the Tribune. And had a great view of the river. Because it's right when you have that bend.
Right.
And
Chicago is a very scenic city.
It used to be, yeah, before it got bombed out.
Well, it's not quite there, but they're getting there.
Well, believe me, it'll get there. With the amount of go-go Palestine people there, it'll totally get there. But it's also kind of catty corner from 2 very famous buildings that were part of the architectural renaissance in Chicago, and those are the 2 round buildings that have garages in the bottom floors.
Oh, right. You've seen those. Was it a Steve McQueen movie or something where they drove cars off?
They've been in a bunch of stuff. They won a whole bunch of architectural awards. And this is like catty corner from them, which is they're right next to the House of Blues.
Seen many a show there. Not in years, but I've seen many a show there.
For somebody that hasn't been to Chicago in like 20 years, I've got a pretty good memory.
Obviously, you didn't drink enough. You'd be like, I was there. I remembered nothing. I remember.
I remember plenty of them.
I mean, CSB
of them
will tell you that blocking people is an act of aggression. I don't really believe that, but I appreciate his stance on it. But
I mean, so is like going in and killing a bunch of women and children.
I would think that class, more people would put that into active aggression category than
blocking,
than pressing a button on a computer.
Yes. CSB, there's a cartoon for you. Have the Israeli response to Palestinians being to block everybody's accounts.
Well, that's what a lot of these folks, like the squad in the United States. Oh, no, ceasefire. That's kind of like, just block them.
The whole ceasefire immediately after a terrorist act is hilarious to me.
Yes, then you know who's backing the terrorists.
Yeah. And by the way, Twitter, or X, as it wants to be called these days, is shocked still. It seemed like people are talking about how when Musk took over, all the liberals left. No.
Right, just like Cher is going to leave.
Full of the rah go Hamas, kill more people memes. A lot of dead Jew iconography on X these days.
And here's the thing I don't think people still understand about the freedom of speech. I see in, I think it was Florida, there was something, and then I think that Harvard, one of these Ivy League schools, that was very, I guess, ashamed, and maybe rightfully so, that there were so many pro-Hamas groups at the college, are now going, well, we're forcing them to disband. And I'm like, well, that's not really the right answer either. Because
no, absolutely not.
Free speech means you let people have whatever views and say whatever they want. It's not just what you like.
Well, you can't stop it disbanding. I mean, you're going to have to fire half your faculty.
Right. Well, this is absolutely. Hey, there's going to be a lot of openings for conservative teachers all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the problem with the cancel culture, is that eventually it's going to turn on the people that created it. I believe that. Because they are not in lockstep anymore, which is interesting. The actor, he's not big, but he's big, but not in the name that you know him. But Josh Gad, who's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
I saw an article where he's really just surprised about the anti-Semitic state, of a bunch of the people in his little otherwise, group that was all anti-Trump and all this. All of a sudden, they're anti-Israel, and he's Israeli, and he's like, wait a minute. I'm like, you see, the people, they're assholes. You're buddies.
Yeah, I've said for a long time that the antidote to wokeness is Islam. And I think it's just as true today as it was before. And this is not an endorsement of Islam, obviously, but it is an observation. And that is that all the things that these woke people seem to like to cling on to, which is lost causes, there's a definite relationship, maybe not a causal one, but maybe it is a causal one, between people that like to adopt pets from the animal shelter and woke culture. Because if you think about it, pet's going to be around for 10 to 20 years. It would make sense to get one that has no bad habits, has never been mistreated, and is going to be a good pet for you. And yet, there's this whole subculture of people that completely are against buying a clean new pet and say, oh, you should only get pets from shelters. These are the same people that support Hamas.
That seems about right. And CSB sent another test post. I only got half, so I'm guessing you got it. This is beautiful, CSB. Thank you.
For how much?
I got $742, so you should be getting somewhere around that. You should get a little bit.
Yeah, I got
more.
$742.
I got $742, so I think you get a little more.
I got $27.50.
There should be one that says test sending from Podverse app at 10:29.
And you're saying
it came in after NetNed.
That you only got half.
It came in after NetNed.
All right, let me see.
The total was 1550, and I got 742. I can do math on the
I got
fly.
7. Yeah, CSB here. Test sending now from.
There
something.
You go.
Got it.
Finally, it's working.
Yeah. Funny how that works when we talk about it. Then it'll probably stop working after the show, and you'll be getting doubles again.
Ixnay on the changing A of the RSS feed A.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought blocking was the way to go. And I know I took some crap, just like JCD did. But for me, again, it was only people that were continuously just trying to bait and troll, not have a conversation. As long as you're willing to have a conversation, I will usually go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
The minute it's clear that you don't really want to do that and you're becoming more and more insane and not accepting of reality, then that's fine. I mean, like there was one dude, I remember which one that, Taylor Swift sucks. I'm like, well, that's fine. I don't care if you think Taylor Swift sucks. Just like I don't care if people think Ted Nugent sucks or Frank Sinatra. It's like, I'm just going to listen to what I want to listen to. Whatever you want to do, you do you. But if you want to like message about it 15 times a day, then that's annoying. Right. And that's when you get blocked. And I mean, although
I was curious to see if you were going to block me when I said she's not attractive.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's a beautiful thing. A lot of the women that you're like, hey man, this chick's hot. I'm like, nope. That's the beauty. We're not fighting for the same women.
No, we're definitely not.
I could have the hot ones and you could have whatever it is you like.
Yes.
And I know you're intimidated by Taylor Swift.
In your imagination.
Right.
Because in reality, you're married and you've got the one.
Damn it. Wait, you're only supposed to have one?
Well, I mean, not if you live in the Middle East, you don't.
I mean, if Taylor Swift shows up and knocks on my door, you never know.
Isn't that your, you got a pass for that one, right?
Right. I mean, I would hope so.
Oh, you haven't talked this through and gotten the contract?
I think the contract is if she gives my wife a Lego gift card, then everything's good. It doesn't even have to be a big gift card. Maybe 1,000, which at Lego gets you like one set now.
I was going to say, isn't that like the space shuttle?
Kind of. The space shuttle, which she just finished building that, oddly enough.
I know. That's why I mentioned it.
It's like 200. That was like $200 or so.
Oh, is that what she told you?
It's very cool. No, I bought it. It was a gift. It's one of those things like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? I mean, some women want diamonds and fancy Gucci bags and Coach purses and, Louboutins. No, Lego.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I should be happy that's lower on the maintenance scale than most. But I get it. You don't find Taylor Swift attractive because you don't like tall, leggy blondes.
No, I like tall, leggy blondes that are attractive.
When you have to get up on a step stool to undo her bra, I get it. You need a little help. Like it's way up there. The guy the Kels guy that she's dating, the football player guy. Her dad first met his dad met Taylor up in the box, one of the games that whatever stadium. And the thing that took him by surprise was that she was the one that would get up and was cleaning up because, at Skybox at a sporting event, they just bring you all the food and booze you want and people just leave all the crap all over. She was tidying up everybody's stuff. And I was like, okay, now that's somebody who's is making $20 million a day. At least the diva thing has never hit her then.
Oh, yeah. Well, just because she's not attractive, she's a little homely, it doesn't mean that she's not a nice person.
And I mean, really, $20 million a day, I could live on that lifestyle.
Yeah, she could have you just full of Legos.
I mean, I was thinking about that because we made the comment and somebody else had pointed out that she makes what the football player makes in a year in a day. And I'm like, well, she makes what we make in like a minute. That's like our lifetime salary.
Less, yeah.
It's like, well, how much did you make per minute? Oh, geez, that's a lot. That is a lot. I did get blocked.
Remember, she's got a lot of expenses.
Oh, this is true.
Her show is not just her singing.
Oh, no. There's like 90 some odd semis, I think it was, going from town to town.
Probably hates the environment more than anybody else.
I know, it's very interesting to me because there are a lot of her fans are very much in that lefty mindset. And it's like, do you not understand what she's
very much in the lefty mindset. I remember when I watched that movie about her, she like broke out of her chrysalis of her conservative country music hell that she was made to be in and became this ultra left winger and, rock singer.
Which is, again, interesting when a lot of those are anti-capitalism. I think there have been...
That's because communism is for everybody.
Except for the
people that say that they like communism. Yeah.
Right. And she is in the elite.
Yeah.
So much merchandise has dropped that there's no way any of her fans could buy everything that is released. And it's interesting because there's been, with the release of the new album today, the re-recording of 1989.
All right, you guys on the bingo card, you got Darren talking about her again.
Yeah. They've done, I think, 3 or 4 different waves of, hey, for the next 72 hours, here's this merchandise available only for 72 hours. And usually, that'll come and go, and then you won't see that for a long time. And
when you say merchandise, you mean spaceships, right?
Right, kind of. Their version of spaceships are just different T-shirts and tchotchkes and coasters and playing cards.
Yeah,
and
same thing.
Anything that you could throw her image on.
Right, exactly.
And
now, do you think she will be bigger than Elvis in terms of crapola with her face smacked on it?
I think she may have already eclipsed, which is hard to believe. I know, because
there are
Elvis
shag carpets of her.
Oh, there have to be. There have to be Taylor Swift shag carpets and paintings on velvet and everything else. Now, the thing is,
what's her short name? Tay-Tay?
There's many. I don't expect her, though. I don't know. I don't expect her to be
dead on a toilet seat with a banana stuffed in her mouth.
You never know. That probably not. But I don't think she will have the same long-lasting impact as Elvis Presley. I don't think
sacrilege, man.
No, reality. Because there's nothing that she's doing that is groundbreaking. She's good at what she does, but Elvis ushered in a whole new type of music.
Well,
Taylor
Elvis
Swift has not
tall.
done
he was
that.
Also attractive.
Yes, her being attractive helps greatly with the marketing.
Unfortunately, she's not attractive enough to be in movies.
No, well, this was Kid Rock said that was the reason why she was playing the good liberal, is that was her end goal, is she would like to be in movies. And Elvis, Elvis was very attractive.
Kid Rock is not a liberal.
Barack is a liberal? What?
Kid Rock is not a liberal.
No, he said that Taylor Swift, he thought, and I don't know if he knew her because of the country thing or if before she really came out with all the liberal stuff. He thought she was just putting on an act in order to kowtow to the elites in Hollywood because he thought that was her end goal as well, which was to be in movies.
I think she'd do even better if she wasn't ultra liberal like that.
I would think most artists would do better if they left it as a question. It is very weird because Nashville, it was the one thing.
Dolly Parton talked about it. I remember she was being interviewed by who was doing the interview? I want to say Dick Cavett.
So we're going back a while.
Oh, this is just recent. Well, no, maybe 40 years ago.
This was recent. It was just about 40 years ago.
I started thinking back.
Whoa, what the hell is wrong with you?
40 years. Okay, Cavett's show hadn't been on in 40 years. But she was asked about our politics. It's, my politics, kind of like who's in my bed, is not for the world to see. It is for me when I'm casting my ballot. And so I will never talk about it. And I think she did exactly that.
That's why she's a legend.
She is the legend, yeah.
I mean, again, she was the first rock or country artist who had their own damn amusement park. So there's that. You talk about marketing.
Dollywood.
And the hell of a songwriter, a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
And as an artist, I would think you would want to avoid, especially in a country that is more or less fairly evenly split, to alienate one side of your fan base does not make sense.
Right.
Now, I get why a lot of these guys like Springsteen, you notice he didn't really get that political until his career was kind of over. You know, people give Darren O shit about being into Bette Midler. No, not different. I don't like, do not like Bette Midler. Do not like Barbara Streisand. And a lot of that is because of her politics. You know, Cher, I hate because of her politics and her music equally. So there's
I like Cher's music. I always thought she had a very sexy voice.
Wow. I got you, babe. Going way back to the Sonny Bono years.
Yeah.
And you're just into this is what you were jamming to in the 1980s in Chicago at the clubs.
I like her old stuff with Sonny, and I like her solo stuff. Oh, she's got an unusual voice, and I always liked it.
But for artists, you got to be careful. And I mean, you can still write, you know, the beauty is you can still write songs about it, which is why things like Born in the USA for Springsteen, I thought were great. I mean, you're talking about
it turns out it was actually a socialist anthem.
Well, it turns into, you know, it's the oddity was back in the day, people just did not understand. All they heard was Born in the USA. Ronald Reagan used it, which Springsteen did not like. But again, we've talked about this with all sorts of things. If you put the music out there and it's licensable, you cannot choose who gets to license it.
Right.
But,
although that's just a technical feature. I mean, there's no reason that theoretically you shouldn't be able to.
True. Now, the thing is, when you listen to Born in the USA beyond the chorus of Born in the USA, Born in the USA, Born in the USA, he got stuck. It was like a typewriter going over and over and over again. And I like the song, and don't get me wrong, there's other rock music that does that where they repeat the same thing over and over. But the story of the characters in the verses are not happy. They're about people that went to war, can't find work, people died. You know, it was not a, you know, God bless the USA type of a song.
Yeah, it's like a, you know, lower class kind of we're all fucked anthem.
And I appreciate people that put that kind of stuff out there, because as times change, you can make statements without being vote for that guy. I mean, I appreciate artists that will make a political statement with their work, but not be party based. Be based on teaching a lesson, showing a aspect of something that people wouldn't have thought about. But now it's kind of like so very obviously on both sides. And Nashville is the interesting town, because up until,
you know, all music is, sorry to interrupt your train of thought, but you're kind of rambling, but
I am right on track, baby.
I'm going to say something controversial. Music is nothing but a way to make poetry less gay.
That's an interesting take on it.
You go ahead and you do the words to pretty much any song with no music. It's going to sound pretty gay.
Born in the USA, born in the USA, born in the USA. I was born in the USA.
Yeah.
Gay.
Totally gay.
Totally gay. So you weren't the kind that was writing poetry for the women you were trying to woo back in the day?
That's probably one of the things that I'm the worst at is poetry.
Little hickory dickory dock. You kind of go through the Dice Clay.
Oh, yeah. Dice with a cigarette being jerked out of his mouth really fast speed and then slowly put back in.
Nashville, like 20 years ago, totally conservative. Like every artist.
It's totally liberal now.
Right. Well, it is now split, which is interesting to see Nashville was always a very family-based thing. All of the artists kind of allegedly got along. I'm sure there were always outliers. But now, yeah, this is kind of like they're at war.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see what that does to a genre of music. It's like, it's not the happy-go-lucky place anymore.
Yeah, neither is Austin.
No, this is true. This is true.
Yeah, Austin used to be where like the pot smoking country western people
Yeah,
lived.
the alt country, the better country artists were in Austin.
Yeah, and then Nashville was where the more straight and narrow kind of country lived. And yeah, both cities got overrun with Californians.
Uh-huh. And that ruins everything.
It kind of does, yeah.
The amount of people, though, exiting California, Illinois, and New York tells you that a lot
These
of people do not
places to live.
Uh-huh.
Clearly, the next president of the United States should come from one of those states.
Yeah, should be one of the governors of one of those states. That's obviously where you want to get
we
them
had
from.
the Barack Obamas in there, so, need more of them.
But I don't believe Taylor Swift's legacy will last like Elvis's. The Elvis thing, the fact that is still going strong. Though? No, I don't think so.
No, you think you'll be able to get all the crap you're buying at full retail now at garage sale prices within 20 years?
Yes, and not only that, the stuff that I had purchased, the Record Store Day albums, which I know I've talked about before, but there are a few of these now that I can sell like 6 albums for probably, together for like 12 to 15,000.
Wow. Let me ask you a question. Do you talk about this Taylor Swift album crap on the show that gets big donations?
Occasionally, yeah. I mean, Planet Rage talks about all the good stuff.
Right. So you don't really talk about this then?
Yeah, but people like Larry.
Okay.
So I think that's the difference.
Yeah. When are you going to be getting your next tooth replaced? Let me see if I can get Larry to
get Larry on the show. That would be good. Well, no, dude. Now that I had taken those antibiotics and I went to my doctor, he was surprised that amoxicillin would have knocked out a sinus infection. He's like, usually it takes a little more than that, but since
you
then,
got a weak, pathetic sinus infection.
Which caused massive pain.
Man.
In the tooth. Well, it was
man's sinus infection.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a sinus infection. But since then, the sensitivity to that other tooth is gone. So who needs a root canal on a tooth that you don't need a root canal on? So that's gonna.
I should have picked some up when I was in Mexico. I didn't even think about it. I could have just picked up any amount of what do you
drugs,
call it?
All sorts of drugs.
The ones that you took.
Amoxicillin?
Yeah, I could have picked that up or any of the other varieties there with no prescription.
I've been taking Mucinex, the 12-hour Mucinex now every 12 hours.
Good. I've taken that.
And I think that has helped. And I asked him, is there a problem? Because I don't know. I'm just like...
That's what I took for COVID. That pretty much fixed my COVID.
Takes all of the, drains everything. Because I finally saw my doctor now, first time in a year. He had a harrowing story of his last year, but...
he did heroin, huh?
No, harrowing. I said, is it okay to take Mucinex? He's like, yeah. He's like, I've prescribed that for women trying to get pregnant, which I'm like, this is something I did not even know was a thing. He's like, oh, yeah, because it kind of like loosens, all the mucus and it makes it slicker and it makes it easier. He's like, there's maybe not a lot of research on it. He's like, but they were trying to get pregnant for like a year.
Off-label. You got one of those off-label doctors.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, I told her to start this, and within, a few weeks that she got pregnant. So who knows if that had anything to do with it. But no, because he was like, hey, do you want the flu shot? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And my wife's like, no. So
you got a flu shot?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I didn't die. I got the flu shot.
You will.
I'm like,
I will bet money on it.
I will roll the dice on the flu shot. I've always gotten them, never had an issue.
Oh, my God. That's horrible. It's just chock full of evil things.
Chock full of good stuff. I didn't even have any reaction to it. I was hoping for a good reaction. But no.
Oh, okay. Because, you probably got the placebo then. They've talked about how apparently they've been running placebos the whole time.
Could be. It'd be like which works, which doesn't.
Yeah, because they just don't tell you. They just, come in for a flu shot. Yeah, we'll take care. Yeah, you won't get flu this season. And then meanwhile, they're pumping you full of sugar water.
We're going to mark you down as the guy that didn't get it just in case you die. Then we'll know for the next one.
That's right.
But I said, yeah, I'll take the flu shot. I'm like, but I'm not going to take the COVID shot. And he looked at me. He's like, I wouldn't give you the COVID shot if you asked for it. I'm like, okay. He's like, you and I have been right on the same, mindset since all the COVID stuff started, because we've talked about a lot of it. So it's good to know that, I think he still believes people like my parents' age, in their 80s should probably get it. But,
well, if you want to kill them, sure.
Maybe. I think my mom had COVID again, and it was basically the sniffles for 3 days. Sniffles and tired. Because she was like, well, my allergies are really bad. And I went and looked it up on pollen.com, and I'm like, it's a green day, has been for a few days, so it's probably not allergies. But that is what COVID is like for most people now, is I think my allergies are acting up a little.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a common cold is what it sounds like.
Which is what a coronavirus will eventually turn into.
Well, the common cold is a coronavirus, right. So yeah.
Which any coronavirus, it can start out a little bit more as the COVID-19 did. It was doing a little bit more havoc.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the lesson learned there is, even when a cold virus is modified with monkeypox, it still ultimately ends up mutating into something that's not that dangerous.
Yeah, comes on down the line. But what happened to him? He one night after work went to get a burger, slipped on something. It was raining. He's like, I slipped on something.
That'll do it.
He fell, and he's like, his back was horrible. He could barely get up. He was screaming for help. Of course, nobody comes.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he was able to get himself up, get home, and like for the next 10 days, he had massive back pain. He's like, well, what am I going to do? Go get it x-rayed? I'm like, good work, doc. And once they finally did, the back was fractured, I think, in 3 places.
Dumbass.
And the orthopedic doctor that he had told him it was the most painful fracture in all of orthopedics. So whatever that was, I'm like, no, okay, that can't be any fun.
And I guess the old doc was writing scripts to himself for painkillers, huh?
Yeah, he said nothing worked. Except laying flat on his back.
Everything.
Pretty much. Well, he went through then. He's like, for a while became paralyzed, couldn't move from the waist down.
Yeah.
He basically,
that's usually not a good sign.
No, wasted away, and he's like 6'2". He's like, he was down to like 120.
What'd you get one of them tall ducks for?
I know, but he went into sepsis and something else. He's like, it was
Jesus Christ. Does this guy not know about modern medicine at all?
He does, and that was the whole thing. It's like they just bizarre, just a bizarre bunch of events.
But you know what they say,
doctors make the worst patients.
The taller you are, the harder you fall.
Yeah, this is probably true. This is, now you have to look down. You have to understand when the winter comes, it's wet and it's icy. It's very easy to do. I've done that with.
I fall all the time. Don't even notice it.
Well, you just bounce right back up.
Exactly.
I had something that spilled on the kitchen floor, and I wiped it up and didn't realize whatever it was. Maybe it was a little bit of an egg. There was something that whatever it was, the next time walking in bare feet that I hit that little spot of the wood floor, it was slick. So I could understand how that could easily happen. Like you're just walking like everything's fine. Then all of a sudden you have no traction. And
that's usually how slips happen.
Like you got to be careful.
So let's talk about spaceships.
What? Hey, everybody, you can now go to your bingo card. If you got spaceships in the center square, you just got yourself a bonus. Are you trying to sell or buy spaceships at this particular juncture?
There was a couple of new spaceships that got released in Star Citizen.
A couple. See, now everybody is like, we thought Darren was a total fucking pussy for buying Taylor Swift stuff. But then Gene started talking about buying virtual spaceships.
Yeah, but you could actually use these, unlike the Taylor Swift stuff. They may be virtual, but you could do stuff with them.
You could do stuff in the virtual world.
It just needs a computer and a game called Star Citizen.
Just like the Taylor Swift record just needs a record player and a pair of speakers.
Honestly, that's not the stuff you're buying. The stuff you're buying has no purpose.
Okay.
What are you going to do with the Taylor Swift mug? Come on.
Well, to be fair, I'm drinking my coffee right now out of a Taylor Swift Tervis.
Of course you are. Jesus Christ.
It's an old one. They're not making them anymore.
A grown man.
Yeah, I've got that in a bottle of Hint water here, so I'm all set. I'm good for the whole show.
Oh, that's good. So no iced tea for you, huh?
No, the wife keeps making it. I've gone just with the coffee, and there was a study.
Coffee's worse for you than iced tea. Coffee's a diuretic. I
know, which is why I pee so much.
Yeah, that would do it.
Along with the diuretic that I'm actually taking as well.
Well, that would do it as well. But more importantly than the spaceships, a couple of new ships being available, as they came out with a video showing off their progress.
Oh, now this is the one that's in alpha still?
Yeah, that's the one that's still in alpha. And they finally have come out with a video. It's really the first one in a few years that's showing off what they're doing. And the standalone version of the game is now what they're calling feature complete, which is no new features will be added. So now it's just a matter of fixing bugs.
Oh, so that could be another 20 years. Yeah, that could be another 20 years.
It's likely a minimum of 2, maybe 3, but hopefully not more than 3. So they're getting a little closer on that. And certainly the video's been, it's done in an ideal environment with no weird bugs or crashes that the rest of us see in the game. So it makes it look better than it actually is, but it does look pretty damn impressive. If it were bug-free, it would be a very impressive game.
Now, this is very weird. Literally, just during the show, got an email to Darren at grumpyoldbens.com, for that other show.
Mm-hmm.
And it is discover the most popular video game in your state.
Yes.
Have you gotten this email?
No.
Dear Darren, have you ever wondered how we unveil the gaming preferences that shape each state's culture? No, ever wondered how we unveiled? Well, no, I don't understand.
Clearly
how.
Translated from Chinese.
I'm guessing maybe, yeah. I'm like, but no, I'm not. That's not a show about video games. I don't.
Clearly wondered, haven't you?
I've clearly wondered, and this seems like something that would be something that Unrelenting would have more interest in. Our study covers urban and rural areas, capturing the essence of every state. Game selection.
Don't really care what games people play, but
games people play in the middle of the night. Who sang that song? Games people play.
I don't know.
Take it or you leave it. Digiguru, no, he knows everything.
Digiguru plays that?
No, I don't know if he plays it, but he'll know. Games people play. Now don't you ever just get that kind of a thing? A song just jumps right into your head.
Sure, yeah, I've had that happen.
So now you think because of Star Citizen almost being ready to be released that your virtual spaceships will soon be worth enough to put you on Easy Street? Is that what the thought is?
No, they are definitely selling, but I need to move them faster, so I might have to run a sale.
Oh boy, Slick Jeans spaceship.
Slick Jeans
what's it? It was
Emporium.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's right. Crazy Gene Spaceship Emporium.
Mm-hmm.
The Alan Parsons Project.
It's the going out of business sale. Oh, Alan Parsons Project's good. They're
no Taylor Swift, let's be honest. Just because the guy worked on some Beatles albums and is a legendary producer and musician.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we want to give him credit? Crazy Gene Spaceship Emporiums. Hey, do you need something just to tool around the galaxy in or go long distances? Interstellar? Come on down. Crazy Gene Spaceship Emporium.
Mm-hmm.
33% off this weekend only. CrazyJeans.com.
That's pretty good. I should have you do the next ad.
See? I can do the radio thing. I could even tone down the shouty voice if you want. Otichi Guru says, I didn't know that song from shit. So there's... Ned did.
So Canada apparently just banned South Park.
Wow. You thought they would have done that like 10 years ago when the Fuck Canada song came out.
Uh-huh.
Which is a great song, by the way.
That is a great song. It's a good motivational piece.
Uh-huh. When the Terrence and Phillip characters.
Canada. Yep.
Terrence, you want to pull my finger? This show is probably more the South Park of podcasting than it is the Seinfeld of podcasting.
Oh, no. Seinfeld had some of that too.
True. There was a little bit. But you kind of remind me of Cartman.
I do. Do I now?
I think
really?
so. I mean, if you put the beard on Cartman.
Respect my authority.
Exactly. Exactly. So you're buying new spaceships. Is that what we were going to get down to?
Cartman's going to be played by a black woman now.
Well, that's only equitable.
Yeah, it is. Have you seen the preview for that episode?
I have not. I have not watched a South Park in a few years. I really should download.
Well, it's all over the internet. I'm amazed you haven't seen it. But the next special they're doing, which should be like 2 days from now, I think.
Ned's correcting, saying it was Blame Canada. I don't know. I like Fuck Canada better.
Yeah, Fuck Canada's pretty good too. Fuck the EU is what we were thinking.
Right. Fuck EU. Fuck Canada. Fuck everybody. Fuck everybody right now hard.
Oh, dude. You just see, now you've done it. You're going to have to put the adult content label on this podcast.
Oh, no. Well, nobody listens anyway.
Well, doesn't matter. Apple can delist you if you have more than 3 fucks in a row.
Fuck off, fuckity fuck, fuckity
in a podcast without having the adult content label on.
We've always had that.
That's all we need is to get delisted.
For everything that I do, I put the adult content label on it because I just assume.
Oh, I never do.
It's going to need it.
Well, that explains why nobody listens to this podcast.
Does it? That explains it.
Nobody downloads adult content podcasts.
Nobody does. No. Nobody does at all. But that's how I got blocked
True
by
story.
Mama Bear over on No Agenda Social was using the F word. Because now.
So you blocked her?
No, she blocked me.
No.
Because there was an article on.
Wait, people block you? No one ever blocked me.
Well, you have to try harder.
Except for IRC.
And it was funny because I was mainly responding to somebody else, but she was the one that started the thread about MSG. And it was like.
MSG's good.
I know. You love it. I have migraines if I ingest it. And
one of the reasons.
The article was like, oh, there's MSG in everything, even if it doesn't say there's MSG. And she like tagged me in it, like, see, Darren, sorry. And I'm just like, fuck off. I know what my experience is. And I can tell you if I have something with MSG in it, I get the oral migraine within like a half hour, almost without fail. Had to stop eating at Chinese buffets because of that. Had to stop eating at the Polish buffets. So you used
to have this condition then in the past, huh?
Well, it started, I think, in my 20s.
Okay.
And although they say migraines usually lessen when you get older, for some reason, this has not subsided. And once we figured out MSG was, and I'm sure there is a level of MSG that might not
you could
trigger
do a
it.
Test.
Right. It's like how much of it.
You could get some and inject it directly intravenously.
Right. I would rather just put that in a drink or something and just rather than inject it directly in.
I mean, it's just salt water.
No agenda millennials like, what the fuck is a Polish buffet? It's like, have you never had a Polish
really?
buffet?
Never been to a Polish? I've been to a Polish buffet.
I mean, wow. It's like a Chinese buffet,
west
but
side
Polish.
of Chicago there.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean? What is it?
Yeah,
it's like if somebody were to say, do you go to an Italian buffet? Or you're like, what's an Italian buffet?
Yeah.
It's a buffet.
It's basically a Chinese buffet with Italian food.
Yeah. That's it. Or with Polish food.
Or Polish food.
You get some kielbasa, some pierogi, some sauerkraut. Oh, it's good stuff.
Some schnitzel looking stuff that has a different name.
The fucking schnitzel. CSB, where's all the good Polish cuisine? Come on. Hook us up, buddy. Without
I know he likes to eat it. I don't know if he cooks that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if he cooks anything. He definitely does cooking
cook AI.
Right. Buy me a go. Jinx.
Bum.
Right on the oral migraine is today's show title, spelling it ORAL. Thanks, Digi. It's nice. AURAL. Come on.
Nice. No, I like the oral more.
That's all the wives'
tooth problems.
Right. That's the wife excuse. I have an oral migraine.
Oral migraine.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, boy. Yeah. You're going to have to buy some Legos now.
Yeah. It's a lot. Big set. More than one, probably.
Boy.
Probably
so
more
Colonel
than one.
Douglas McGregor says we're on the brink of total war.
Ooh. What's the difference between that and partial war?
Well, total war is when there is a full out commitment. It's basically when the rules don't apply. So total war is something I've always been advocating for. I think it's absolutely retarded, and that is the proper word here, to have a international laws on war. That is stupid. So if you're going to be at war, there are no rules. And total war basically means by all means necessary.
That would make sense.
Which makes a lot more sense to me if you're going to go to the trouble of being at war.
Now, here at 10:55 a.m., Name Silo email. Your domain Unrelenting Show has just expired. No, fuck you. It has not. Why are people trying to cancel us?
Yes, maybe that should be the title of the show.
Canceling, yeah. No,
canceled.
I have a receipt.
This episode is canceled.
They're trying, man. They are trying.
So yeah, it seems like everybody's doing their darndest to make sure that there's a massive conflict in the Middle East that ends up pulling everybody in.
Well, that is the goal, right?
Apparently, because you got to remember, Iran is in BRICS, and it has, it has alliances with Russia, China, and Brazil. And so an attack on Iran would not be particularly good for the West.
Well, you certainly would destabilize a lot of things.
Like the West.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, which is not destabilized enough, apparently. People still see some stability here, so let's fully get rid of it. I will say I am in support of two things, purely from a Schadenfreude perspective, not from a rational perspective. I am fully for the draft, and it should be for both sexes and with no deferment from college or for college. Because the best place for those Gen Zers that really love Palestine is to be in Palestine.
Yeah, at the front, right?
Yeah. So I'm totally in favor of that. Only voting for candidates that support the draft. And the other one is I think it's time to start breaking up some of these big companies. Like pretty much anybody that made money during COVID, I think is a good candidate for a breakup.
So now we're getting into capitalist countries, or you're kind of losing
companies. I'm talking about,
right? But how does this have to do with war?
Oh, I said this just Schadenfreude.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I mean, we're gonna look. If we go to war, which we will, our inflation's gonna go into the 30+ percentile, maybe even hit 100% like Germany did, where money is going to become totally worthless. So we're going to have, like, the money coming in from taxes isn't going to be enough to pay for it.
It already isn't.
We're going to have to, well, that's true, but we're going to no longer have the Chinese buying our debt. So we can't even borrow our money into war at that point. This is the whole freaking, how do people think this works? When we want to go to war against China while being at war against Russia and soon to be Iran, and China is holding a large chunk of our debt, less today than it was 10 years ago, but still a pretty large chunk. Like, what do you think that's going to do to the US dollar?
Well, if you cut off everything that is coming into the US right now
from
as
China.
Far as consumables, from China.
God. There's literally nothing. The country's dead.
Yeah.
The country's just dead. There's nothing that doesn't have some piece, some part that is produced in China. Literally nothing.
How about your electric vehicles? Oh, gee, what's going to happen there?
Yeah. The cars may be manufactured here, but I guarantee you there's plenty of components.
That new Apple iPhone Gene just bought. Bet you there's Chinese
that's why I bought
parts
it,
in there.
Because I knew this is probably going to be the last iPhone ever manufactured.
Going to come all to an end.
Yeah,
when
it's
the world,
all done.
Well, and this concept that there are rules of warfare
is bullshit.
Well, because the rogue countries don't follow them anyway. It's kind of like the city of Chicago, where the law-abiding citizens can't own guns, but the criminals can. So if they come into your house, you're screwed because the criminals don't follow the law, but you will.
Right.
It's the same thing. Well, no, it's illegal to use chemical weapons, but then the countries that use chemical weapons, it's like, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, like the U.S.
We won't process anybody anyway, prosecute anybody for anything.
The irony of watching the way that the Russian special military operation has been described in the West, of all these atrocities and use of illegal weapons and illegal maneuvers and illegal this and that and the other thing, is hilarious, because you literally, with doing one Google search, can see much worse examples of the U.S. doing the same thing. Well, I mean, remember when they said, well, you can't be using these cluster munitions until the U.S. ships cluster munitions, which they've always used.
Let's send them to Ukraine.
Yeah, let's send those to Ukraine. Oh, well, of course we have them, because, we have to use them in Afghanistan and Iran and pretty much every other place the U.S. has ever been.
Well, let's start here, Gene. Can you list off for me the countries that have ever dropped atomic bombs? Go.
United States. Yeah,
that's it.
Pretty much. You mean like in conflict, not for a test.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're testing.
Right. Exactly. It is insane. And even this whole thing's like, well, Israel's already killed more than 2,000 people, so therefore this is a disproportional.
Right. Well, they want equity.
Yeah, they definitely want equity. And I just think back, it's like, okay, total number of, just in Iraq, not including Afghanistan, total number of Iraqis dead as a result of U.S. military action, 282,000. Total number of people that died in 9/11, less than 3,000. That's 100 to 1.
Which is still a reasonable response if you get attacked, I would say.
I think it's totally reasonable, except that we didn't get attacked by Iran. But,
well, this is it. Well, this is the same excuse that's being used, as that, well,
but I'm pretty
Israel
sure it was
wasn't
Hamas,
attacked by
or are they
Palestine.
now saying that it wasn't real Hamas, it was a fake Hamas, pretending to be Hamas?
What they're saying is, well, of course, Israel was attacked not by Palestine. They were attacked by Hamas. Like, you can separate them.
Right. There's no fucking difference. Palestine is Hamas, and that's reality. And so and I said the solution is super simple for Gaza, super easy. All you have to do is use your existing police force to gather up the 2,000 members of Hamas. That's all they're saying there is. Gather them up, bring them to the front lines, hand them over to Israel. No more bombing, guaranteed. 100% guaranteed.
Yeah, as long as the people Hamas that are left in Palestine aren't going, kill all the Jews.
Yeah, well, so that's the other part of it, is there's certainly plenty of anti-Israel sentiment, but it's way bigger than that. It's as expected, shifted into just not just, kill Israel, but kill all the Jews. There's an awful lot on X, formerly known as Twitter, that is just very anti-Jewish and not specific to Israeli politics or this particular action at all. It is like all the people that have never really liked Jews have just been kind of not saying a whole lot for fear of looking stupid. All of a sudden now get an opportunity to crawl out of the woodwork. It's like, yeah. There's never been a good Jew. Only good Jew is a dead Jew. Like, they're all getting their chance to get out there and talk about it now because Israel got attacked by terrorists that killed 2,000 people.
Right.
Therefore, now is the appropriate time to go bash Israel. And by extension, all Jews, including ones that have never set foot in Israel, they're all guilty.
Well, this again is the liberal mindset, is that you don't even have the right to protect yourself. Same thing with all the liberals in the United States who don't want you to have guns for your protection. I mean, the criminals are going to have them, but you shouldn't be able to protect yourself against what's coming in. To some
extent,
which is why they look at Israel and go, well, how dare you go after those people that did that to you?
There's no rational thought involved there whatsoever. But as I mentioned on my other show, Israel is definitely even more liberal than the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's part of the problem in my mind, and the reason that this happens is because Israel is run by a bunch of lefties, and it always has been. And they can be referred to as the right by the lefties in the United States, who think everybody that's left of Stalin is a righty, is a Hitler, but or to the right of Stalin is a Hitler. But really, comparatively speaking, Israel has always been fairly socialist. And I think this is how they got themselves into this situation, because were they not a socialist country, they have some balls after they captured the territory in both 68 and 73. They would have just kept it all and kicked everybody out of there, and it would have just been a bigger Israel with no areas of Hamas inside. They also, who the hell does not ban Hamas from having political offices? That is insane. Same thing with PLO. Same thing with what's the other group? So we got Hamas, PLO, and Hezbollah. Yeah, like all three of those should have been treated as enemy combatants, or whatever phrase you want to use.
Well, you should help.
They should be shot on sight.
Do you use that same thing in the United States for the open communist socialists that are AOC and Tlaib? And, you know, it's like, this is an interesting thing, because I'm all for freedom of speech. But when people start electing people to office who actively do not believe in your system of government,
right,
at the very least, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah.
When people are getting involved just so they can be the fly in the ointment, if you will.
Yeah.
Then government is going to collapse and the whole country is going to pay the price.
It deserves to be. Like, I'm not going to say that somebody like AOC, because she is a lot more socialist leaning, can't say what she's saying or can't be running for office. I think both of those are fine.
Right. No, I
just
agree.
Tells you about the district that she's from, that's she's representing the idiots the people that live there.
So those are the districts
fine.
We should add to the bomb list.
But if AOC was to actually be in the same organization that routinely does bombings, then no. Then you can't run for political office if the group you're representing is also bombing civilians.
Well, see,
not even civilians. If they're bombing anybody, I don't care if it's a military installation.
Well, here's the interesting thing. This is exactly what the left is trying to do to the MAGA folks, is label them as terrorists.
Right. That's exactly it.
And it's
and Trump, as the leader of the terrorists, ought to be in prison.
Exactly. Well, you're right. Yep. And definitely not eligible to run for office, according to them.
No. Sedition. Yeah.
So that's the very interesting bit about all of this.
But it's all going to be put into perspective. I am convinced that this is all just a temporary state, because at this point, I think we've crossed over the Rubicon now. I think we're at a point now with the border being fully wide open in the South, getting more and more people that are pissed off at the United States for supporting Israel. I think it's literally just a matter of probably days until we see some real terrorist acts in the United States. Nothing like January 6th, but things that result in mass deaths of Americans going about their daily lives.
Well, yesterday was the anniversary of the Patriot Act.
A lot of good that did.
Well, it's hard to know exactly the effect that it had, because there have not been any major terrorist attacks on the United States in the interim, but there have definitely been abuses of privacy and individual rights. I don't think there's a question about that. And you'll have a lot of people who fall right down that category of, well, the ends justify the means, and then they scream that until they're caught up in the flack.
And so I think that's what we're going to start seeing. And remember, I mentioned this earlier, that Islam is the antidote to wokeness. And I think under the name of Islam, under the banner of evil America supporting anti-Islamic war in the Middle East, I think we're going to start seeing the same stuff happening in the U.S. that we've seen in Israel. We're going to start seeing suicide bombings on a regular basis. And I think big cities like Chicago, New York, San Francisco are going to be epicenters for this kind of stuff, because most of these, people that want to kill somebody, they don't want to have to travel far.
Right. Even though it's all their buddies that live in the city they're going to bomb.
Mm-hmm.
It makes zero sense, but you're right. They don't want to travel to Wyoming, man. That'll take some time.
And they'll stand out.
Also true.
So I think that we're going to Seattle, Portland, Austin, all these cities, we're going to start seeing suicide bombings happening. And the government response will be to try and figure out a way to crack down on white people, mostly Christian white people.
Right. Well, they are the problem.
That's the way you fix things, is you see who's going to follow our rules. Yeah, let's make some draconian laws just for them. There was also, I think you saw, because I sent a link to you, a story that Tim Pool did.
Was that satire?
No. If you watch, well, you obviously didn't watch it. Totally not satire.
I mean, it's Tim
Jewish
Pool.
Students told to hide in the attic from far left pro-Palestinian mob for fear of their lives. This actually happened, and it was in a college, of course. Can't remember which college off the top of my head, but it was an East Coast school. But apparently there was some Palestinian groups that were chanting things and walking around the campus looking for Jews to lynch.
The wars are coming.
So it's, it's a thing. And I think, again, this emboldens both sides because there's a saying that used to be more popular. I don't think it's really been a thing for a while, but there was a saying amongst Jews that were old enough to say never again, meaning the Holocaust.
Yes, we will not let this happen.
Yeah.
But people don't know history now.
Well, but everything's called a Holocaust now, so it doesn't matter. And everybody's a Hitler, so that doesn't matter either.
Well, yeah, it's great when you see the protesters that are calling the Jewish folks Nazis.
Yeah, well, and there's a ton of those memes floating around on X. Like the Israeli flag with a swastika on it, and well done art, pretty well done art, quality wise, of like, a Jew standing and then a reflection of him in a puddle. He's wearing an SS uniform and all this stuff. It's an interesting time we live in.
Well, I've often said and made the case that this concept that you want to take all of these different people from different viewpoints and mix them together and think they can live peacefully is bullshit and will never work no matter what you do. You cannot mix two groups of people that at their very core hate each other into the same area, because eventually bad things.
And you're of course talking about the Sunnis and the Shias.
There's so many there's a lot of different choices that you can make. But this is why it's great. I mean, you have different countries, even within the United States, you could have different cities where everybody can be peacefully going about their day and just not mess with anybody else. But this concept that you all have to live in, this is one big global pot. It's like, but it's not, because these are people that want to kill each other. I mean, you go to the story of the settling of the United States. There were people that were living here when the white man came.
No. Cannot be.
No, that would be wrong.
I can't imagine that.
And they, didn't want the white man here, and there were conflicts. I mean, of course, the thing they don't talk about is that a lot of those Native American tribes fought the hell out of each other too. It wasn't like they were just, hey, we all love each other.
They were all peaceful. They were all earth, green, mother loving, and they did nothing against each other. They all lived in harmony. You're clearly mistaken, especially the Aztecs.
Yeah,
they were the most harmonious of all the Native American tribes.
They loved everybody. And then the Romans, they were just peaceful people.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Those were evil Europeans. Yeah, the whole thing, the whole thing with the sort of indigenous peoples, which somehow the Jews that used to live in Judea 2,500 years ago were not indigenous. The Palestinians, which showed up 100 years ago, those are the indigenous people apparently of Israel. Okay, fine, let's take that concept to Europe. So all the Muslims in Europe are the conquerors and the occupiers, and all the Germanic people and the Norse people, and they're all the indigenous folks. Yeah, how's that working out for you?
Well, yeah, the reports out of London, I think London's like 40% Muslim now.
Oh, yeah. Well, the mayor is. I'm sorry, the president of the UK.
Right, whatever that's called at this point.
Whatever the title is. Yeah, the prime minister. Yeah, he's an Islamist.
And then you ask that question, and again, people, you're racist. It's like, but for the people that are British, that want to live the British way of life, what do you call it?
Yeah, you need to leave England. That's what you need to do.
Right. But it's like, so where does this come down? It's like, I'm all for people coming into the United States, but you hear the stories all the time. Well, they don't want to learn English. They don't want to send their kids to school. They don't want to, if you're coming into
it's just, there's nothing to do there.
It's, if you want to go into any country, if you want to go retire and move down to Costa Rica and you're from, Detroit, you got to learn the Costa Rican ways. You don't go in and, act in a way that is not part of that culture.
Yeah.
But that is not what you're getting now, which is why there has been so much upheaval, is that you have people coming into places like London who are changing the way things work. And the people that live there are like, we don't like this.
Yeah, but they don't do anything about it. The people that live there, they clearly are okay with it.
They've been dociled into the you have to love everybody that comes in.
There's a reason Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world.
They're giving away free spaceships from Crazy Gene Spaceship Emporium
because they still adhere to what Christianity used to for a while, and what Judaism never, well, I guess it did for a very short period of time, which is our way is the right way. And they don't turn the other cheek. They don't consider anybody who's not a Muslim to be a human being. So
and from what I can tell,
it's a successful formula. It works.
Tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not Muslim and I don't follow this closely.
I'm not either, but
enough.
I'll happily tell you because
you will say anything and pretend to be right. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems to me that the Muslim religion has been pretty stagnant for hundreds of years. Unlike something like Catholicism, which I'm a good Irish Catholic boy.
Which has been stagnant for well over 1,000 years.
No, it has not. The masses have changed drastically. The viewpoints have changed drastically. We've gone from nope, homosexuality is a sin, gay marriage is a sin, to, maybe that's okay. And I'm not saying the original viewpoint was right, but it has changed drastically. It is trying to fit in to the current times, where it seems to me, again, I'm just looking at from the outside, that the Muslim religion's like, fuck whatever's going on. We are what we are, and this is the teaching, and this is what we believe. We are not going to be like, the gays, the lesbians, the whoever, the transgender wants us to change our religion to include them. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
Where that is a big sign of, one, I say it would be weakness if you're talking about, a country.
It's a strength, because if you don't change, you adhere to the exact same thing, then everybody else has to change around you. This is why Islam is winning, is because it's stronger than the other cultures that interfaces.
Because they're not changing.
The only threat to Islam is different Islamic sects.
And I think you had that backwards, but the strength is in the not changing to society.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Islam is not changing. Islam is staying the same.
Right.
Which is its strength because everybody else has to mold around it.
And when
the culture of the UK is changing, Islam isn't.
Correct. And that is exactly why all of this, I think it's just idiotic when you have a pope that's like saying things that are on the global warming front and all this. And to me, I laugh at that because it's like, well, let me get this straight. You know, you're talking about how horrible man is doing to the environment. And I'm fine with the let's not pollute and throw garbage into the air. And there's a lot of things that you can do to, help the planet. But, well, don't run your vehicles. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't run your air conditioning. Well, if it's over 78 degrees in the summer in your house, if it's under that, then you're running too much air conditioning. But when the Pope comes out and starts talking about what man is doing to the planet, I'm like, but your God has the ability to do anything. So it's like, why did your God make it this way? Your God could snap his finger and go, hey, there's no such thing as climate change. Everything's great. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's interesting to me.
No, he can't because free will.
Free Willy? That was a great movie. But, I mean, people allegedly have free will, although I like that there was some professor that studied this for 20-something years. What kind of Catholic
are you? What do you mean allegedly have free will?
Allegedly have free will. I'm telling you, because
of your religion.
There was just a professor that studied this for 20 years, and he's like, well, people don't have free will. I'm like, I don't understand that one.
That's my side would say that. Right. No. Your side would not say that.
The commie Russian bastards, that's your side?
Yes, the intellectual atheist side.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. No, I think people have free will. I think you have, things are going to happen to you that are beyond your control, but you can decide.
Like life.
Well, right, but you can decide. There are people that...
Can you, though?
There was a guy that jumped in front of a bunch of the bullets and when this nut and Maine start going and shooting people and tried to protect them.
Yep.
That is free will. I mean, that
is it though? You don't think he's a product of his environment, of his upbringing, of his religion?
I mean, I guess the thing, if you're having an instantaneous decision, you can perhaps make that case, but you decide each and every day. Every Friday we wake up, we go, are we going to do another Unrelenting? And the answer is
not how I wake up. I don't know. It's not the first thing on my mind until I sit down and put on headphones.
I mean, you have to decide after you wake up. I mean, I didn't say nothing happens in between. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really decide, dude. The only reason I wouldn't do it is if you're not available.
See, but why? I mean, why is that your choice? Why is the choice, let's get up and do the show?
It's a commitment. But when I make a commitment, I'm going to stick to it.
Did you have free will to make the commitment, or were you?
No,
you
not
did
at all.
Not.
No.
The only reason I'm doing this show is because I was totally fucked into it.
Pretty much.
I was promised Vestal virgins.
No choice.
I was promised free virtual spaceships.
I'm kind of in a hostage situation. I'm blinking twice right now.
We're not on video. You have to.
I'm still blinking twice.
Fake podcast.
Uh-huh.
Is it a podcast or a hostage situation? You decide.
I mean, it's kind of. Is there a difference?
No, they're kind of the same. except that this is just a hostage situation that only like a few hundred people pay attention to.
And then every 20 minutes or so, I have to think to myself, was this an episode on Seinfeld? I remember something like this.
There is often, yeah. I'm hearing that they might do one more episode just to tie everything up. And I think we maybe have mentioned that because it is about time.
We have, and when we did, I told you, well, didn't you see the one that Larry David made?
Oh, that's right. And I'm like, no, because I don't watch that show.
Yeah.
Just like I haven't seen Idiocracy. I haven't even seen the new Taylor Swift movie, For the Love of Pete.
Oh, my God.
I'm waiting for it to come out on digital.
Who's Pete? Is he a love interest of hers?
Probably. I mean, she's had a lot of them.
The movie?
She's had a lot of them. Yeah, For the Love of Pete.
That's kind of what I heard. She's kind of a skank.
Kind of. And there's a song that was on the album released today, which a bonus track for 1989. I played it right before the show. I did my Do No Agenda stream illegally. The song's called Slut. So, I mean, that I thought was an interesting take.
I think one of the best song titles to really kind of summarize the current generation, Ariana Grande had a song that was something like, I'm bored, let's go cheat on your girlfriend or something like that.
That I mean, somebody right off your tongue.
I'm sure somebody will know, but it starts off with I'm bored, and the idea was, ignore your commitments, let's go fuck.
Right, which is, I think, the current state of America. That is the thinking. You said the millennials. This is a different way of the commitments are not there. The normal upbringing is not there, whether you like religion or not. Religion, I think, keeps a lot of people in check from doing from doing some bad things. When you're like, well, you're looking at the world now, and you're like, well, people are hitting people in the mouth with a brick. They're robbing stores, and they're not getting punished. So why shouldn't I do X, Y, Z?
And I think that's a perfect argument for religion right there. Forget all the miracle arguments. Just go for when you have no laws, people do bad shit.
Yes. Whether they're secular or not.
You can demonstrate that empirically.
Yes, you can see that.
There's your best argument for religion right there. I've said this before. I've changed my mind on the benefits of religion because I had assumed previously that everybody was a rational thinking being, and I was wrong. There are a ton of NPCs out there, and religion's the only thing keeping them in check.
Hearing the voices in their head.
Well, no, hearing the voices every Saturday or Sunday or whatever day you guys celebrate.
Now, Ariana Grande, hot or not in your world?
Totally hot. I'm a big fan of the way she looks. I'm not whatsoever a fan of her music. I think it blows.
Yes.
But I think she's super cute, and I like the she did it on a number of different talk shows, maybe like 8-9 years ago. She did a bunch of like singing impersonations, like where she sang.
Oh yeah, was that who did that?
She was very good at that.
Was it was one of the late night shows? I think maybe was it Fallon where they like spin a wheel and it's like do this song in this style.
In this style, right. Yeah,
I saw that, and she can sing.
There's no
very good question.
She can sing. But man, her music just is. It's
the lowest of the low pop.
It really is. It's elevator music in the making. It's the kind of shit that you're going to hear that you can't quite place what the hell it was, but it's vaguely familiar.
It's the kind of pop music that's just going to completely disappear from your brain after a while.
Like, and by after a while, you mean like 2 minutes?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, but I've always liked the way she looks, especially with the longer the hair, the better.
Yeah, even though they're extensions, it's all fake.
Well, I think at some point she did have long hair. I think you're right these days, but yeah.
But that's it. It's all about.
She's
it's all
yet
about
another one of those Disney princesses.
Well, and when she talks, she sounds like there may not be a lot rolling around up there.
I know, but she's cute, and she's a spinner.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's they look. You don't use IQ as a determination for whether somebody's hot.
No, but I think Taylor Swift used her IQ to make a few $1 billion, which, hey.
And I said that in my thing. It's like, she's not attractive whatsoever. She's a very good businesswoman.
Knows what she's
clearly
doing.
No, yeah, totally. I give her all that stuff. It's like, but just because she does that does not automatically translate into her being hot.
She's played the left. She's played the right. She's made $1 billion. Now she can go buy the NFL. And then she can just, if that's what's going to happen.
Once this
boyfriend,
I don't think they're going to let her. But
once this boyfriend pisses her off, she's just going to buy the NFL and then shut the NFL down. Like, fuck all y'all.
It sounds funny, but that's a club. That's a private club, and she doesn't have an invite.
This is true. There was a hockey player. I thought this was interesting.
Wayne Gretzky.
Love Gretzky.
Who doesn't? If you don't like Wayne Gretzky, go commit suicide.
I mean, the guy was the best there ever was, and I don't think I've ever heard a bad story of like Wayne Gretzky was a dick.
Right.
He seems to be like the Teflon guy. And man, he could
just
play.
A genuinely good guy.
Yeah.
all the way around. I mean, there were stories of him being really nice to like people just starting out in the NFL.
The NFL, the NHL.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. NFL, yes. Yes. The National Foot Hockey League.
Yes, that's what he went into after the NHL. A lot of people don't know he played in the NFHL after.
They used rollerblades in that league, so it's foot hockey.
But this is the first NHL player to be suspended 41 games for gambling violations since the 1940s.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay, I've been watching the Blackhawks this year because they've got the new phenom, Connor Bedard, and the kid can play, no question. But one thing I've learned is the NHL promotes gambling at every turn. It's on the boards. It is during the game, at least on ESPN. I don't know if the local ones do the same thing, but on ESPN, I believe it was that, between the periods, they're telling you how the odds have changed now for the end of this game. So the NFL also, and NHL, I'm doing it now just like you. They're all pushing gambling left and right. And this
they figured it out. There's a money stream there. So you're
Well, the interesting thing here was the NHL suspended him for 41 games, but also said,
you're not talking about Pete Rose.
No. Also said, we did not find any evidence that he bet on hockey.
What?
Right.
What are they suspending him for?
I don't know. Nobody knows. The best that
makes no sense.
No. The best that I've heard was on a Canadian website, of course, that said the rumor is he had an account in the United States that was somebody else was placing the bets for him, which I guess if you're a professional athlete and you have a
bookie
gambling, well, this isn't all just bookies now because this is all legal. So you have,
right, but if you don't want that traced back,
you should,
use
right?
A bookie.
You're right. You should. Although, do bookies still exist in the world where you can legally go to whatever casino's app and place your bets? I mean, it would make sense.
They're referred to as concierges these days, but yeah, they still exist.
You said, welcome. I've got you a concierge service. I'd like to put down a dime on the Blackhawks. And
so I'm looking this up. I didn't realize there was a Supreme Court case in 2018 that opened up the path for states to legalize sports betting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Now, I don't know if this is something to do with making bets when you're out of the country, because there's a lot of weird shit. Like you can't buy, even if you're a resident of Illinois, you can't buy an Illinois lottery ticket if your internet is showing that you're from outside. Although, again, VPN from your home, whatever. And you can get around that. But maybe it would have seemed to me that what the best guess was there were bets going on his account when they knew he was out of the United States. So maybe it was illegal for that. It was just a very weird thing. I'm going to follow this and see if anything more comes out.
Yeah. So apparently they overturned the law that prohibited sports gambling based on 10th Amendment constitutional principles.
Which, Vegas casinos all cried because for the longest time, if you wanted to bet on sports.
Monopoly, yeah. Mm-hmm. I remember the betting rooms out in Vegas that were always very, very full.
Oh, yeah. And it was always, when we went to Vegas, it was fun, man. You can go and you'd have all the games on the TV. You could bet on whatever you wanted. And if you wanted to bet on, hey, for your team to win the World Series or whatever, you had to make that bet in Vegas. Yeah. Now I guess you can just go to an app on your phone. And then they're surprised that all these youngsters are like, I'm in debt. Oh, my God. I love gambling so much, but then I didn't realize it was rigged against me. It's like, that's the secret, kids. Gambling, you're not going to win. Now, bet against your buddies. You may be smarter and you'll win. But if you're going up against the casinos, the odds are there for a reason. This is not an easy thing anymore. Like, one team's going to beat another. Not only do you have to pick the right team, you have to pick the right point spread. You have to know exactly what's going to happen. And most of the time, you're not going to win.
Yeah, but you don't, there's got to be a variety of different sporting bets. You probably do a straight win.
I'm sure you can, but there's still odds that are, and sometimes
it's great odds. It's not going to be a 2-1.
Right. It's like if the Vegas is playing the Blackhawks. You've got the Stanley Cup champion playing a team that's not expected to make the playoffs. I'll bet $100 on Las Vegas to win, and I might win $101 if
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the odds aren't just based on who they think is going to win. The odds are based on how many people bet on a particular side. So you take the pot on the left and compare it to the pot on the right, minus the VIG, and then that's your odds.
You got the odds, baby.
See, that's the mathematical formula right there.
Right. Well, that's because the bottom line is the casino is always going to win.
Well, that's what it's for. There's only one entity that is better at making money than the casino.
Ex-wives?
A bank.
Yeah. Well,
if you could own a bank, that's the pinnacle of money making. You're literally printing your own money.
When I went to Vegas for the first time, I think it was 10 years ago. So I was already, in my 40s. I think the first time I ever got to Sin City. The one thing that is for certain, and everybody should go just to look at the size and scope of the casinos and go, they made all of this happen with the money people are losing on all the games.
Well, all of that plus a return to the investors.
Right. Yeah. There's the people are getting rich off of this. They're building this.
Yeah. And you can play the games with the least amount of money diverted away from the players, like poker.
Right. You play blackjack, you're just going to lose your money slower if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and if you really know what you're doing, you're going to get kicked out of there.
Yes, exactly. They don't want winners.
No. If you're suspected of counting, you'll get 86.
Yeah, which is why people like Brian Brushwood are always seen as questionable at best.
Yeah, I don't think he does all that good at gambling.
He just did a whole series on card counting and all that. So, if you're looking for that information, The Modern Rogue has that. But when you win big at a casino, they want you to, here, extend your stay. We'll give you a suite. Stick around. Put that money back in. Go have an overpriced meal. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is you're like, why am I getting free shit for winning? Because they want to take that money back.
Just like Unrelenting. We just want to separate you from your money, but we are not good at what we do.
Well, then Darren's doing that with me pretty well.
Hey, the only guy we got on the line so far is CSB, so we need to expand. So we'll implore you to join us next week. Same Unrelenting time, same Unrelenting channel, and we will be right here with the spaceship, the Taylor Swift talk, and everything you need to know. Another Unrelenting
in the can.